get started right away. And the thing we always do is a temperature check. So, hey, what's going on in the community? What did you see? What did you experience? What do you want to share with the other stewards? And I'll get started with Nate. Pass to you. If you're talking, Nate, we can't hear you. Not better. I see that you're unmuting, but no sound is coming through. Okay. Nate, we'll come back to you, okay? Sandy, your volume's working. I'll pass to you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't unmute. Sorry about that.
Cool.
Yeah, one of the things I've been just noticing is the I don't know, all the action that's going over the praise system or the source cred that we have to implement. That seems to be something that a lot of people is aware of. So I like to launch that committee and start working into that direction, do some testing with source cred, see how results come out and how we can end up with whatever we decide as a community as one system or one way to distribute whatever we decide to distribute. So that's something that I see many people is concerned about, and I'd like to start getting into that. I'll pass it to Chuy.
Hey, Chuy. Maybe he stepped away.
I'm sorry.
So this is just a.
I'm sorry, Tom.
It's okay. So it's just how we start the stewards meeting was just a temperature check. So anything in the community that you want to share with the other stewards, anything that you're witnessing, observing, how you're feeling, new people in the community might be feeling.
Well, I feel a lot of excitement because of where we are, and yeah, I think that we're almost like in a point where like a lot of issues like may arise, but like we're already like so close that I just feel like that people are excited in general. I am excited for the next weeks, and yeah, I feel that it's much more like focused right now than maybe like a couple of weeks ago. And I'll pass it to. Are you okay now, Nate? Yeah, we can hear you. So I'll pass it to Livy.
I think there was a really cool momentum for the MVV. It was really good, the hack session we had on Sunday, and seeing that developing and more people feeling interested. And then today, the AMA call, Andy Barch and ViViV both joined to ask about the MVV. So that was really cool also to see that call being a place for even community members that are here for a while to come and ask questions. So I feel like we're getting to a really good flow. Pass to Zapti.
Thanks, Levi. Nate, you should try on the settings on the Discord, and maybe you have a new device connected or something. Yeah, just play with it. For the temperature check, yeah, we finally have our feed monitoring on the outage. It was Libby, and it's so cool. Like it is moving. It's awesome. And another thing, I mean, it's not TC related, but like Celeste is working pretty good. And yeah, I mean, somehow it's related. So yeah, and it's fun. I'll pass it to Griff.
Yeah, Celeste is working well. The One Hive community has made like a leap, which is really cool to see. The parameters stuff is we have like a new contributor. His name's Nuggan, and he came out of he's got like a whale like vomiting rainbows. Great icon. And he's like hot to trot. He's like, I want to work on things, and he's doing everything right. He's coming in, taking easy issues, and supporting Vitor and those guys. And I feel like we're going to get a lot more. And we have Christopher and now and the other like contributors on the dev side starting to come in and creep in. And it's really cool to see the engagement and the excitement on their side of just like, I want to help, you know. And then there's also Durgadas in that last call being like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm a designer. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to do this. You know, it was like, I think that was the first time I heard that Manu and his designer bailed, and within just a few seconds, basically, of the announcement, oh, okay, here's another designer. We have a lot of resources at our fingertips. I'll pass it to Craig.
Hi, help me with the topic.
Oh, it's the it's like heat check on the community. Any community members?
Oh, yeah.
Or any...
Cool. Yeah, I haven't had many interactions or been tracking community closely lately, so I'll just leave it at that rather than making something up.
Should we pass to Nate? Give it another try.
I think it's working now. Yeah. Sorry about that. I appreciate your patience. Yeah, I think the community is doing well from my perspective. I think a lot of people are really kind of nuzzling themselves into new roles. I think Chewy, congratulations, man. You're doing a great job with the comm stuff. I really appreciate you taking that on. The SEO is really interesting, and we're getting that all together and making sure that we have access to everything. I know that's we talked about the HubSpot and possibly getting access to that as well to help with comms. Yeah, just infrastructure building, and everybody seems to be, you know, getting into new places. And so, and Suga, I'll pass it to you and welcome, and you're doing an amazing job as well. And I can't wait to talk to you more. So pass to Suga.
Thank you, Nate. I'll talk to you later. Right. So I'll just add that I've been having advancing my one-on-ones, meeting the team, meeting with everybody in the community, and that's been really great. And I have a few more folks among you to meet. And just saying the same thing, I was really excited about the MVP, as you know, and I'm excited that finally I'll be able to focus on because I managed to get my trusted seed status finalized. So I'm super excited about that. And I will pass to Juan Carlos if he didn't go.
Thanks, Katie. Well, I am very happy because I was a little bit distracted planning an event for the Ethereum Colombia community, which we had today and went really great. And I am super happy about like all that I have been learning in these past months. And it was super interesting that we were talking with Santi City about proof of humanity, and I asked him that if he had done like simulations for his token, because this is like an insight that I have had from token engineering. And he said like, yes, we once had one, and we saw that even though that we are giving the same amount to everyone, it can cause monopolies, and it tends to monopolies. So yeah, it's so nice to see how like the application of the token engineering into a token project can like signal these points, and that there is still much to do to improve and to like make more resilient all our tokenized systems. So I am super excited about this. And yeah, I think that I've been like a little bit distracted, but I think that everything is going great.
Cool. Happy to hear that. Okay, excellent, cool. Oh, mine. So I also want to say I really like the, what's the right word for it? The collaboration on the MVV. I thought that it was a really great team community collaboration, and that how, one of the things I thought about was like, oh, this is like collective intelligence. Like what we're ending up with is going to be better than any one person could write alone, because we're writing them all together. And then I think onboarding's becoming a lot stronger, and I really appreciate that, actually, knowing that people are coming in and we don't lose track of them. I think we still have a lot of way to go, but at least we now know where, like, we can look at them every week and check in on them every week and make sure that they're finding the right path, or help them find a better path if they haven't found it by themselves. And then I think comms, I'm actually really impressed with how comms is, Mitch is a monster. He's putting a lot of stuff out. The SEO project and the Hatcher campaign project got a lot of momentum really, really early on, and they seem to be just going in a really positive direction. And then, of course, all the memes that you guys build are really cool too. So the thing that we need to check on is the spotlight for tomorrow. I don't think we have one. So I'm going to ask Griff if maybe you have somebody that you've been talking to, and how can we make this more easier to get the spotlight? How do we make sure we have spotlights? Am I failing to do something? Do I have to do something better?
No, I think this is a problem that we identified a long time ago, is that, like, there's no one who's taking it on as their responsibility to make sure there's a spotlight. It's just been passing hands. So it's just got to be someone's job,
I have an idea. What about the SWAT team? Like, since they are related with the proposals, yeah, they take care of it.
It seems like a natural fit. But I don't have anyone tomorrow. No.
Okay.
I can scramble and see if there's someone who wants to do it, though.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it was originally under the Hatcher outreach team with Eduardo, and it was an issue that was assigned to him week to week, but it's, it was also, he's having a hard time picking the projects too. So we thought maybe we can bring it into this TEC steward, so we could have like a group think about it weekly, but it would be great if one person owned it too. And I don't know who the person is who can own it.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it if, is there kind of like a mission with it, like associated, or are we just trying to highlight different projects within the TE community?
Originally, it was projects that would use the spotlight to share their project, because they were going to request funding from the TEC. So it was projects, but the entire project sort of didn't have enough momentum to have a lot of, flux around talking to a lot of projects and getting, speaking to a lot of people and figuring out who could present and who could propose. So maybe now that proposals is getting a little more momentum, maybe it can be that. I don't know. Like, would you like to give it a shot to, reach out to projects in the TEC that might want to, take 5 minutes at the end of the community call?
Yeah, I'd be interested in doing that.
Okay, Livia and Griff, I just want to, originally that was the scope, like people that were proposing, but can we have it be more like, well, you just have a cool project in the TEC that we're spotlighting, in the TE that we're spotlighting. And when we have proposals that will propose, they definitely get the priority.
Yeah, ideally it would be, at least, it wouldn't just be like, oh, hey, guess what? I have this ICO, right? Like that's not okay. Yeah. So
do we have like standards for like who?
Ideally, they're adding value for token engineers, right? Like they're providing some kind of value for the token engineering community. They're not just using token engineering to, like honestly, Ocean Protocol itself is not an acceptable project. But Token Spice, which Ocean Protocol is using as a simulation tool, and they're open sourcing, and they want other people to use, right? That's a great project. That's ideal. That's the gold standard. It could be someone who wants to do some modeling and make a standard model for some kind of like economic primitive. It could be just it could be a course or like a class, anything related to CAD basically, or Token Spice or modeling. These are the ideals,
Yeah, it also came from Jess' idea of the Trusted Seed Spotlight. That is some interviews that she does with members of the Trusted Seed that have like very interesting things to share. And coming into the TEC was like, yeah, how can we put the spot on the projects that we want to come to the TEC, and just like Griff said, it makes me think that like we have that distribution of the top 3 things the TEC would be funding, like open source and modeling, education, and token engineering narrative. Maybe we could start shaping this more into the proposals working group, and start like filling those buckets and bringing attention to each one of those and having them organized so people really understand like, oh, what is a TE project that deals with education? What is a TE project that is building open source tooling?
Yeah, I like that idea. You actually gave me a really good idea. Can Common Stack present the Trusted Seed Swiss membership? Like, is that worth? I mean, it's actually, I'm assuming most of the people in the community call probably already are Trusted Seed, so maybe it's not worth it. But like, activate your membership message. Thoughts?
I mean, if I guess the dashboard. Did we already do the dashboard?
I think we did it once.
Oh yeah, we did. There it is. Yeah, I mean, Trusted Seed DApp is there, right? It could definitely be used. I'm reaching out to Jerome to see if he wants to do it. I mean,
cool. Okay.
I'll scramble. I'm good at the. If worst case scenario, it's not a bad option. If all things fail, I could do it.
Yeah,
so.
Cool. All right, and now Nate will Nate will be there to be like, hey, so you don't have to scramble last minute. He'll remind you a few days beforehand too. Cool. And any ideas? Maybe we go to Nate with any ideas. As I'm reaching out to hatchers, a lot of them have their own projects. I mean, yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So the next thing on the agenda is also the new blog post. Will be next week. It seems like it hits us every 2 weeks, and it does. So can we help? Craig, I think Craig is going to work on it with Katie, who should start picking it up from now. And so can we make sure that we give them a good list that they can use to start writing this like over the weekend? MVV results won't be in before the 28th, 29th, right? So maybe that's not even one that we could put in the blog post. What else do we have?
They will be ready on the 28th.
Oh, is it the 28th?
Isn't it? Or Olivia, is it?
Yeah,
it's the 27th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Okay.
And hopefully the QA will pass this time tomorrow about the hatch config dashboard.
I would like to add also that I think that the gravity survey can be promoted. So I just pasted the link in the agenda. Right.
Okay, cool.
And actually, you please, I am going to share it with the stewards, so I can receive feedback on the survey.
Okay, cool. Is it an interesting idea, yes or no, to include something around our soft commitments and our number of hatchers, committed hatchers? Do we want to start having like a little progress to hatch section? I'm leaning towards no, but I'm putting the idea out there anyway, actually. As I'm saying it, I'm thinking it's not a great idea, but I'm gonna see if anyone thinks it's a better idea than I do. Okay, I'll take that as a no. All right, cool, excellent. Anything else? So these 3 pieces for our blog post and the praise leaderboard. Let me jump in the, let's jump in our community call agenda. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, one last thing on that, potential things is that our hatch freeze and code review should be ready by then.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly but how to say that, but everything's working right now. Like rage quits work, everything's working as expected on the contracts. So they're basically done, and the review is just waiting on a few last tests and basically done. So by next week for sure it will be like 100% done. There won't be any more people looking at them, and we'll just be able to start playing.
Okay. Which would probably tie in with the hatch config dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
Although, yeah, it's always scary to announce that something is. Sorry?
Like code review is done. We could announce like a bug bounty or something.
It's an interesting idea.
I'll talk to Sam about it. But either way, the code review is done, and we could probably publish all of the like smart contracts and just say, hey, this is what we're going to hatch with. This is all locked in. Community review time, you know?
It's a very cool idea. Okay. Cool. Okay, Craig or Katie, do you want to say anything else around the blog post or ask any questions?
No questions from me. I will just hit up the individuals with the pertinent information directly if I can't find it myself.
Okay, so Olivia, Griff.
And then maybe Craig and I, Craig, can we get a one this week?
Yeah, just DM me with some times and we'll work it out.
Cool. Okay, next big news, Param parties. All our stewards should join a Param party. Griff, do you want to talk about Param parties?
Yeah, that sounds great. We have our first Param party tomorrow, right before the community call. We're kind of working on the dashboard a lot because every time we do a Param party or every time we do QA, it fails. So, and by fails, I mean it's just like, wow, it didn't work, right? So the first QA was done by Jake and Lauren and the Param team, and we were all 2 inside, and that was we made enough improvements. And then we tested again with Nate and Craig, and it was still very confusing. And then we tried to make some improvements, and then we tested it with Tam and the crew on Sunday, and oh my gosh, still a lot of improvements. So we're making major changes. We're getting rid of the cultural build tribute. We're shortening the text. We're going wild with this, right? So it'll be like a very new dashboard tomorrow. and hopefully it will pass QA this time, and with this new dashboard, and then we'll have more regular parties. But I would love it if the stewards would be down to come to the Param party. We'll just have it in the parameters group here right before the general call. So if you guys want to try to propose parameters tomorrow, that would be super cool.
So tomorrow, 7 p.m. CET.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I have one question. I see like there is like 2 schedules. It's like just to like people should join the one it's better for them, or they are going to be different one from another. Like is it
The one on Friday will probably be pending. I locked in the spot, but it's pending success on tomorrow. Like, people aren't just like throwing their hands up like this doesn't make any sense, you know. So as long as we succeed tomorrow, then the one on Friday is scheduled as well. I can't remember the time though. What's the time for that?
It's not on the calendar?
it was at some point?
It is. It's at 8 p.m. CET, 11 a.m. my time on Friday.
It's on the TEC calendar?
It
Yeah.
was.
Hatch Paramms party, Friday 23rd
I'm
at
looking at the
11
wrong
a.m.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong week. I see them now. Awesome.
But that one on Friday, you know, it's pending success tomorrow.
And successful it will be.
I think so.
Me too.
But I also thought so the other time, so we'll see.
All right, cool. Excellent. I will say it's quite an experience to submit your parameters for a hatch DAO. Like maybe a little intimidating, but go for it. You know, that's what the community is here to help us understand what the good decisions and great decisions are. All right, I want to talk a little bit about our roadmap and timelines because, you know, as Griff mentioned last week, our Commons upgrade will certainly be delayed. And as we've been talking about these Hatch Param voting periods, we're seeing we need more time. So we've elongated the period for the Hatch Params. And so that pushes things a little bit. And I've updated, there's a few things, right? Like our roadmap here is getting quite long. So I've truncated it just to make it more visible and easier to see what's going on. I still need to run through this with Griff, with Jake, who's not on today, around these specific ones that I moved around based on what our new timing was. And some of the timing comes from looking at the, so I want nobody to judge this by its old format, but timing wise, these are not official dates. I want to say these are like our target dates, just so that we have something that we can work towards. The reason I want to specify that is because, you know, we will probably have some delays. So it's inevitable that as we're building these new things and using them and testing them and experimenting, we're probably gonna see some delays. But the Paramms voting should run until the 3rd of May. And the vote for Paramms should be the 5th of May. And then there'll be a runoff and a final Paramms around the 11th, which means that there'll be a final test with the Paramms for 5 days and 5 days buffer to fix anything that came out of the testing. And that leaves us with a hatch around, I'm gonna say that the week of the 25th of May. So it puts our hatch more along the lines of sprint 10 to sprint 11. So it's not going to be the next sprint that we hatch, but the one after that, since we've had to move it to the next sprint. So in terms of communication, we'll have this available more widely as well on our community calendar tomorrow, on our community agenda tomorrow. But for all of us to sort of be in the same terms of the hatch isn't going to be the beginning of May, it's rather going to be the end of May. And does anyone want to ask any questions around the hatch timelines? Because now is the best time to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, just in terms, do you have a document for that already? Just so like comms, and I know Chewy's working on a timeline for the actual distribution of preparing people for the hatch. So we can include like things like parameter voting and stuff like that as well. Yeah, so
we want to be very careful with these timelines. As Tim said, it's like, hey, things can be delayed. So it's like expectation management from comms, where it's like, okay, we have these internal dates that are for our purposes of organizing and making sure that like we're doing this, but we're definitely not going to tweet them or something. I just want to make sure that's clear, but yeah, it's our best target. And if one thing gets delayed, it's a cascade effect, right? It moves everything back.
And to that, Nate, it's in the Miro board. It's in this, the roadmap and timelines Miro board. So for comms purposes, we should be working towards these dates, definitely, but without announcing the dates specifically. Announcing a sprint or maybe even a week can be reasonable, but definitely not a hard date, unless there's something like, the MVV vote is going to take place in the SoftGov call. So that's an example of like where, we have a certitude around that date. Whereas the other ones are still like, hey, let's just get an idea. Let's orient ourselves to the dates that we're targeting.
yeah, I think just having, it gives us more time to actually produce content for those, preparing for those pieces. So I think, getting that ordered and online is good. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was okay.
Yeah, it's a great side effect actually, is that we have this extra time to be able to deliver some more comms. Cool. And now, Katie, you didn't have a chance last week to present your onboarding journey, and so we made some time for you in this stewards meeting. Are you able to do that now?
Thank you, Tam. Yes, I'm a little worried about my speed here, but I can give it a try. I know that if I present, I might slow down, but I can try it. Otherwise, you could throw it up and I could go through it. But let me see. I'll give it a whirl. Okay. Okay, so here's the one I want. Here we go. Okay. Here we go.
One thing I want to say is we did an onboard. We did a Katie will probably also present in this guide to use while we're onboarding, and we gave it a trial run yesterday in a onboarding session with Katie, myself, Chewy, and Aiden, who it's one of these interesting moments. It's like you're like, okay, we're gonna follow this guideline, right out the window. Like he's like so much energy, and he's all. So you're just like, all right, we're just going to keep up with the conversation and just forget that we even made this. So I think it's really going to end up being like, hey, it's useful sometimes, but not all the time.
Right. Exactly. So right. So we have here some slides for onboarding. Trying to keep it pretty simple so that, as Tam just explained, you go off in whatever direction, but at least there's a guideline to be able to come back to focus on, to make sure that you cover the main points. So basically, a little bit about them. Always start with the new contributor, a little bit about the TC, and then recommendations for the next steps. So I know we've been talking about this a little bit, and I already shared the onboarding journey message that would be great to share anytime you come across a new contributor. So same idea, but then this is the next step for actual onboarding. And so it covers those same questions that Tam added, I guess, maybe a short while ago into the new contributor Excel spreadsheet. So, how did you find out about the TEC? What are your interests and background? what questions do you have about the TEC? Yeah, so doing this with Aiden yesterday was super interesting because it was obvious right away that we didn't need, I mean, he knew a lot already. So we could skip that, or like we said, just kind of walk around it in whatever organic way made sense. And so then, let's see, can you see my no, I can't see them either. The speaker notes in this particular slide. How do I show the speaker notes while I'm presenting? Oops.
You are showing them.
Oops.
There's a little bar, and if you just drag it up, you'll be able to show them.
Okay, sorry. I went ahead of myself. All right. Like I said, so when to present like this live, my computer gets a little bit slow. So it's chugging along here. So on this particular slide, get to know us. Each one of these has some speaker notes with some links, which can obviously be updated. So obviously the first one, the MVV, we want to put in the actual MVV in there, and then we can go over it. I think in other cases, or maybe there are no standard cases, but new contributors, we could actually read it, right? And then focusing on the cultural build, bringing up Ostrom and the principles, and then immediately connecting that to how they apply super directly in the TEC with the various working groups, and then explaining the concept of praise. Super important. So really giving a feel for the ideology, the philosophy of the TEC, and then going into the more, I don't know, technical stuff. We've got sharing the roadmap, and then of course the 10 working groups, going over those one by one. And then depending on the nature of the onboarding, we can talk about the tech hatch, raising funds, funding projects, and the hatch process. Those are probably reserved more for higher level or different type of contributor. So I'm sorry, I'm not showing the contributor. I mean the speaker notes, because I don't want to screw up my connection. Then finally, once that all comes together, you can talk to the new contributor about what they can do next. So usual stuff, we want to send them to the community call. We want to send them to the AMA, possibly the Hatcher AMA. And again, it's maybe the case that they've already been there, and that's how they got, how they found, or how they got onboarded in the first place. So whatever works there, share the TEC calendar, and then maybe most importantly is the personal recommendation, where you can direct them to whatever working group in that, after assessing, gathering all that information, corresponds best for that new contributor, and then share with them the call for that. Yeah, so that's about it. And so just to add that as you all know, I've been meeting with the various stewards and learning or asking about what kinds of needs you might have, and basically just feedback on the onboarding process to make it streamlined and practical and useful on both ends for the new contributors and for the TEC. So I'm, of course, open to all your comments and feedback and questions and everything else.
Cool. Thank you for that,
Thank
Katie. And I'm also just going to share that, like, it's nice that this process is getting a lot stronger. And I think to the work that Katie's doing it, and interviewing all the stewards for how, like, this collective intelligence, like, how can we make it better? But we're also starting to figure out, okay, now we're starting to capture people. Like, this is Aiden, who was onboarded on the 20th by Chewy and Katie and I, and how he found out about us, what his skills or interests are, where is he? So he's super knowledgeable. He's very well connected. And then like what our recommendations were, he's sort of like, you just need to aim him somewhere. So we aimed him at Gitbook, suggested maybe he could be interested in like talking to the Hatch outreach. Maybe he could be very interesting for projects since he's extremely well connected in a bunch of different projects. Comms, certainly, he seems like he's a bullhorn, he seems like an amplification machine. So the idea is like maybe in the stewards meetings, we can have a look at who we have available, or when there's a community steward that has a need, we can go back and just be like, oh, there's some people in our community who have those skill sets. So we can start to, I'm going to say deploy people, but it means like to really engage people and activate them in the TC. Thanks so much for that, Katie. It's really great. The next thing is the call to action. So in the comms call, there was on the agenda asking the stewards to use the C&D repository. So I will pass to Chewy or Marco, or whichever one of you wanna give the call to action to the stewards. Or Nate, any of you. Yeah. Go ahead, Chewy.
Okay, so if I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so if you go to available workspaces, you can check the one that says content production and distribution. And
I actually don't see your.
Oh, wait. Oh, can you see it there?
Still a black screen for me. Oh yeah.
No.
Share it again. Okay, so if you go up here to workspaces, oh,
Chewy, you want me
can
to
I
try
do
to
the
share
same
it?
thing?
Yeah, you want me to try to share it and you could talk through it?
Yeah, yes, please. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so.
Okay, so if you select workspaces, there's a new one called content production and distribution, and the idea is to have like better established pipelines and workflows for content. So where if you've heard in other meetings about the idea of like starting like workshops and stuff like that, is so that everyone in the TEC can get familiar with the process that we have. So if it's either that you're preparing like an article or a new post for Twitter, there's like always like a stage in which you can get in. So uh, as you see, like in Epics, like we have more. We have like some more issues for the Hatch campaign. But if you also go to the I don't know, I'm thinking of as an example the wrap text die tutorial that Mitch came up with. It's also something that can. Oh wait, where is it?
Maybe it's closed.
I don't see it. Oh yeah, he just closed it, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. So yeah, I mean, this way we can have like a more organized pipeline for CND in general, and well, yeah, make sure you you join in anything that you want to throw away. We'll give it a read.
So stewards should send like any requests that they have for articles or other pieces of content, a Twitter feed, like, hey, this should be tweeted, and we drop it in there, and it'll go into new issues and then go through the C&D process, the content process, creation process. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, the next thing is Mitch and Marco, working group summaries for YouTube. So this is something that was an idea that Ivy had to, you know, since we have all of these videos on YouTube, it would be great, you know, each working group has our working group videos in our working group channel, and right now they're empty. So she was wondering if we should put something about each working group on each video, so that people can find the videos, or if they stumble upon the videos, they can have some information about the TEC, about the working group, about how to find out more information. And Mitch grabbed it and drafted this amazing piece that he pulled just from the content that was available right now. So he went to each manifesto and he grabbed the goals of each manifesto from each working group and put it into a document for us to have a look at. Basically, the call to action from the stewards is to have a look at the working groups, but also maybe for us to think strategically about, you know, what we should have on each video. Should we have more information about the TEC, link to our Discord, how they can join, as well as a little paragraph about each working group? So yeah, I think some of these are probably a little outdated too. So just a reminder that some of us can, and I wouldn't say refresh our manifesto. We end up a quarter, right? If we were updating our manifesto, I feel like we'd be doing it all the time. But just the thinking is that, like, okay, I probably want to go back, and if this is going to be on every YouTube video for the community stewards working group, I would like this to be a little tighter and cleaner and have a call to action that brings people into the TEC when they find our video online. So yeah. So I actually think maybe the next steps is, and I don't know if we could ask comms to do this, is to come up with a strategy for what kind of information should be in everybody's YouTube video, if we're going to go through putting the information in there, and then for the working groups to review what they want to have shared with the the 2.3 billion YouTube users.
Actually, like what have and at some point I helped organize the One Hive YouTube channel, and something that worked a lot is just having one same channel but different playlists for each swarm. So that, with just like having ready like some kind of like thumbnail, gave us like a much more organized channel in general, and I think that if it's just one channel, it's just easier to have everything like more organized, and also like people can get like other recommendations on different topics. So I would suggest going for playlists just instead of having one same channel.
Yeah, we do have playlists. So there's the SoftGov playlist, and this is more like what's going to go on every video that's published, because right now our videos are blank. And it would be like the summary of the video. And it can be,
okay, I get it.
It doesn't have to change for each video, but it could be something very generic, like, this is this working group, and to find out more about the TEC, and here's our Discord channel, and something like that. So yeah, I guess the question really is, like, does every steward want to take that on to do it? Or maybe we can ask comms if they can, shape the generic thing that goes for everyone, like the calls to action and how to find more about the TEC. And then each of our stewards, maybe we pull this into the next sprint, can work on, the comments that you want on the working group, on your working groups. Or maybe we have some, I don't know, like maybe we have something pretty templated, or every working group can just write their own paragraph and share it so that it can be updated to YouTube. Maybe that's a nice way to do it.
Yeah, I like that each working group writes their own.
Yeah. And then there's maybe some commonality, right? Like maybe there's some common SEO tags, and maybe there's some common call to actions and links, like especially Discord. Come back to join our Discord. Okay.
Yeah, there are some links that Chess provide, and then we just update it, like the one from the Discord and so on. But I'm wondering, like, should we delete that the things we have in the past, like especially the thing that Chess drafted, and add this, or you want to have the thing that Chess drafted and this on top of that?
Oh, I thought there wasn't something already.
Yeah, just drafted like. I mean,
Yeah.
I will paste it in the agenda.
Okay, perfect. And maybe we can look at it too. Okay. So maybe I suppose this turns into an epic, and each working group will write their summary and then submit it to be added to their I don't know. Everywhere we use a description of the working group, actually. So to YouTube, but anywhere else that we might use a description of it. Okay.
Always.
Cool. I think it's assigned to Mitch now. Chewy, is that something that maybe you can take on, sort of creating the epic, and then each of the working group stewards can have an issue to update their section?
Yes. Should I create it and assign each steward, or should I just assign myself and then just follow through with each one?
I think the first way works, since it's actually a little piece of work, but we could do it either way, actually. If it ends up taking time and not being something fast, then it's probably best for it to be assigned to each steward, but then it will definitely be like something that we pull into the next sprint. So we would expect it not to get done soon, which probably there's no rush to do it. I think it's better that we do it really well. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, thanks. See it. Cool.
That's from comms. I mean, I just pick one, and that's what we normally do. We put the time codes, and then we have this thing that just drafted, and we just updated the link when we migrated the Discord. But yeah, we did nothing else.
Wait, so then do we even need to add anything else? This looks really nice.
I mean, I like a little introduction on this thing that Mitch was doing. I think it's cool. Like, for example, we could have a little explanation of the working group, and then the time codes, and then the thank you and that stuff that Jess made. You know,
so maybe
but I feel like this is too long. Like, for example, parameters. Like, I would make something, 3-4 lines, and then something like generic, and to engage, and then add the CEO stuff. I think that's really important.
Okay, that's awesome, actually. The scope has just been really clear now. So each community steward should have 2 to 4 lines about their working group. And that sounds like something that we can actually deliver to Chewy pretty easily, right? Okay, thanks for that, Zep. That was super helpful. And that just made this into a super simple issue too. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so the other, so the last thing is, I was looking at the issues template, and I don't know if everyone else does the same thing, but let me go back into our distribution. It was a template that we pulled from Common Stack, which I think was really useful when it was first created, but I don't know that we're actually using the issue template anymore. Let me sort of bring up an issue, and I'm wondering, like, hey, it's really like we can start. It's a good opportunity for us. So if there's anything to add or blockers, why is it important subtasks? It seems like we just throw the issue in here and leave everything else blank. And I thought it's a nice opportunity for us to just sort of refresh this and have a look at like what are the things that we really need. One of the things that we're doing is like one person, one issue, one issue, one assignee. So it'd be nice to have like, who else should be aware? Like, just a list of all the people who should be aware, which we've been using as reviewers for now. But other than reviewers, it's also other people that are participating actively in this issue. So maybe it's advice process. you know, the definition of done, like success criteria, like how do we know this issue's done? You know, like sometimes we get to the end of a sprint and we're like, but is it done? But, you know, and it's sort of like, should we close it yet? And that way we could, in the beginning, plan what the expected outcome is. And then if we pivot, we could always update our definition of dones, but at least we'll have a clear idea of what it is. So I really like the idea of having like, hey, who's the advice process on this? What's the definition of done? And maybe getting rid of, you know, something, maybe, I haven't put a lot of thinking into this yet, but the idea is like, it's a good opportunity for us just to clear out the cobwebs and try to make it a more easier template to follow. Okay, that's all I had for today. And I knew this was a big agenda and we would get through everything. I mean, it would take up all of our time. So we didn't really have a time to go through our sprint check-in. So I just want to say two things. One, is there anything urgent that anybody has that is blocked or in review that we need to talk about as a team right now?
I wanted to mention something before I forget, because I feel like I heard a few times from different people that relating Ostrom's principles to soft-gov transparency and gravity mostly. And I think this is a little bit, it's not totally right, because all of the working groups are serving implementing Ostrom's principles. So conflict resolution is just one part of it. There is another principle that talks about the legal implications. The Community Stewards Working Group is where we bring the nested enterprises idea. The communication is so important for the decision-making process happening and the rules being designed internally. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, that there is a connected web of why we have all the working groups we have.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because I do that a lot, actually. So I needed to hear that. And I think you're right. It'd be great to see that. Maybe Durgadas has volunteered to do some designs for the hatch process. Maybe he can have like a visualization of Ostrom's principles and all of the TEC working groups and how it is really, we are really applied everywhere.
I also
Just said, it sounds like that might be useful. Sorry, Griff, just real quick. It sounds like I'll integrate that better than into the onboarding guide. Thank you, Olivia.
And MVV, you get your economy, your choice. Get out there and vote.
Cool. Well, we're at the
Livia made a great forum post. So feel free to debate in that forum post too. In fact, Livia,
yeah.
where should people discuss MVV?
I think in the issues of, I mean, if you're discussing MVV, the concept, then probably the forum is the best place. But if you have ideas or discussions that pop up from reading the issues, then I think the issues are cool to engage with. And Griff made a cool video about it too.
It's a 2-minute video. Probably could be better, but whatever. It's there. And really, really fast, easy how to vote. I think everyone here knows how to vote, but I think it'd be great if there's if you feel like you have some overall thoughts about all of them holistically, to make comments in this post. And if you have thoughts on individual issues, make comments in the GitHub issue. This is what we want to do for the Paramms. When we start voting on Paramms, have a forum post where people can talk about the Paramms in general, and then have but each issue they talk about the Paramms individually. Okay, sorry. We're over time.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.